Welcome. Join us for an insightful journey into the heart of African politics as we delve into the aftermath of a historic event. In this upcoming show, we sit down with the distinguished Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, a renowned authority in political science and development consultation, shining spotlight on the recent 51st Extraordinary Summit of the Economic Committee of West African States, ECOWAS, in Abuja, where consequential resolutions were unveiled to steer the path towards restoring constitutional order in Niger post-coup. Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, with his wealth of expertise, takes us on a thought-provoking exploration of the potential ramifications of these measures, including the possibility of employing force. He eloquently elucidates the broader implications of the coup on the African political landscape, highlighting the pivotal roles played by ECOWAS and the support international community. Join us for an illuminating conversation that promises to shed light on the complex interplay of politics, governance, and regional dynamics, all under the guidance of Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, a distinguished scholar and the chair of the editorial board of Abuja's esteemed online newspaper, Premium Times. I am Idaljo Aja.
I think ECOWAS, as we all know, met last Sunday and reviewed the situation. They took the decision that the military should go back to the barracks and restore the President Bazoum in power. And they gave an ultimatum of 7 days, which will expire, therefore, this weekend. So the situation is all of ECOWAS, except, of course, the previous 3 countries that also had coups, as Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea, are together in demanding for a restoration of the constitutional order of the country. I think that was the decision they took on Sunday. The prevailing opinion is that it is too early to talk about the use of force, and the implications of the use of force have to be reviewed carefully to see what are the possibilities of producing negative effects that may, in fact, make the situation worse than it is currently. The problem about use of force is that Niger is a very large country, very sparsely populated, with people distributed over a wide territory. Secondly, because there are now 4 countries in ECOWAS that have had a coup d'etat, the 3 other countries have aligned with Niger and said an attack on Niger would be an attack on their own sovereignty, so they will side with Niger. Thirdly, the neighbors to the north, that is Algeria and Libya, have also made it clear that they will not tolerate an attack on Niger by ECOWAS. So all these have created a situation where the use of force could be very difficult. But I think the most important issue is that we are aware any attempt of use of force will be from Nigeria, and the northeastern part of Nigeria has been undergoing an insurgency by Islamic extremists for the past 12 years, and this use of force may exacerbate that. That's on the northeast. On the northwest of Nigeria, there has been rural banditry, mass kidnapping, and cattle farmer farmer had a crisis that has affected the zone, and there is already a lot of arms in circulation in those zones. So you may have a situation of chaos and increased insecurity, both in Nigeria, Niger, and neighboring countries, if the use of force is actually implemented. The African Union is very involved and has aligned itself with ECOWAS, as is the normal practice, because the regional body takes precedent over the continental body for a conflict in its zone. The United Nations have also aligned with the position taken by ECOWAS and are very supportive of the Nigerian position. I think that's at the level of one side of the equation. On the other side of the equation, the real concern is in the current international geopolitical dynamics. The issue at hand is that France, which has been the dominant or hegemonic power in the Sahel for the past 80 or 100 years, is being challenged. There's a strong anti-French sentiment throughout the Sahel. And that has already led to the expulsion of France and its forces from Burkina Faso and from Mali. France is therefore concerned that there is a domino effect being created and would therefore want also the restoration of the democratic order. The United States has a very large drone base in the north of Niger, in Agadez, and that drone base services the whole of the North Africa region. And they also have over 1,500 troops, just like France. So there's a lot of geopolitical interest because, given the street sentiment to expel France, the likelihood is that Russia and the Wagner group may be invited as a counterweight to the French and American forces already strong in the region. This will create the possibility of a proxy war that goes over and beyond the objectives of ECOWAS, which are simply the restoration of the democratic order. The international community should be committed always to the restoration of the democratic order when it is challenged. We have clear values, normative system that have been developing, and specifically in ECOWAS, our supplementary protocol on democracy and good governance makes it clear that the whole of West Africa is based on what are called the constitutional convergence principles, which requires that all the countries in the zone have a multi-party democratic system with regular elections, constitutional rule, respect for the opposition, a free press. And these are the essential elements of the constitutional convergence principles. And what the international community should do is to always remain supportive of these principles. And therefore, I do support strongly the attempt by ECOWAS to insist on this restoration principle. Of course, my position is that the other measures and the diplomatic avenues open should be prioritized over the use of force. Well, this is my column which was published today in Nigerian newspapers. And what I'm saying in the column is that a number of measures, economic sanctions, for example, institutional sanctions, monetary sanctions have been applied to Niger. And I think it is important, I was arguing, that we give time for these sanctions to have their effect. It may take a bit of time, but they will eventually have their effect. And as you are aware, Niger is a landlocked country. And the two countries from which it brings in most of its provisions are Nigeria and Benin Republic. And both Nigeria and Benin Republic are very supportive of these sanctions. So I believe it will produce results. And that's why I made the argument that let's leave the question of use of force for the moment. Let's focus essentially on the diplomatic and political front. Well, I think USIP is very keen in promoting pathways to peaceful resolution of conflicts and the maintenance of the democratic order. As you are aware, just yesterday, ECOWAS sent a mediation team led by the former Nigerian president, Abdulsalam Abubakar, the Sultan of Sokoto, and the president of the ECOWAS Commission. The Sultan of Sokoto is a member of the National Working Group, and like all of us, is very committed to finding a diplomatic and political resolution to the issue. The working group itself has met and discussed the matter, and we've decided to engage in widespread advocacy to ensure that the diplomatic and political options should be the focus of engagement in this matter, and that the use of force should be put aside for the moment. Part of our concern is that placing the use of force on the table just drives belligerence on the other side. And rather than belligerence, we want to open doors towards resolution, discussion, settlement, and listening to the concerns of the others.
And that's where we wrap up the chat with Professor Jibrin Ibrahim. Thanks for staying with us. My name is Idajo Aja. Please do share the story and subscribe to our YouTube channel.